Okay, we're live. It's the Spinnin Backfist MMA show for what's today's date? Thursday,
30th.
the
June
30th. Oh yeah, tomorrow will be July. Shout out July. We're here to talk about UFC 276 International Fight Week this week. Kayla Harrison also fights this week. PFL, we got a PFL video going out today. Everyone look out for that. Pretty much right after we're done with this show, probably around 4:50. I believe our video is going live. Me, Ev, Anthony Pettis, Evander Holyfield, Chris Wade, Bubba Jenkins,
Randy Couture,
Loud Sean's in the background.
Loud Sean.
It's got a star-studded cast. It's an amazing 17-minute edit by Tom Meenan, our former producer, and we're here to talk UFC, MMA. So how are you guys doing?
I feel great. I love this card. I said I really like it from a gambling perspective. Love it from a fan perspective.
Oh yeah,
probably the most stacked card this year to date. I would say at least main card for sure.
Name-wise especially, yeah.
Big time names.
Yeah.
Even the under the radar fights, like so the actually I think it's the first one this year. The press conference is all 10 people on the main card.
Yeah, that's going down when
rare.
A couple hours.
Yeah, and it's usually in the last few fights, they're especially big fights. It's only been like the first two fights, or excuse me, last two fights.
Yeah, Sean Strickland said he got the call, and he said it was bad news to his fans on Twitter that he's going to be on the UFC press conference because he doesn't want to get Gina Carano.
Did you see Gina said that she'd be open to fighting Ronda? She was like, never say never.
That's like a
Rogan's pod.
Oh, there's so many clips.
Be interesting.
Yeah.
I
just couldn't listen to a full Gina Carano Rogan podcast.
No, I don't know what she would be like as a fighter at this stage in her life.
I don't know what Ronda would be like.
I will say though, well, how old is Gina now? Probably 40.
I was gonna say
I don't even think she's 40. I could be wrong, but I'd be surprised if she was 40.
Zingano looked pretty good in Bellator this past weekend for her age. She had like a little bit of some knee injuries at the end, but it was more so, it didn't seem like anything that bad. I think it was more so like cage, just getting on her knees a little bit. But I just put Kat Zingano in that kind of
she is
era
40.
too.
Okay, she just turned 40 in April.
I think Zingano's over 42, but she looked good. She fought a bum who had no takedown defense, but she looked good. And I think Bellator updated their pound for pound rankings. Johnny Emblin was like 7.
He's our guy now.
Yeah, and honestly, you want to know what's weird that they did? Gegard was ahead of him.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't see how that, it was one ahead. Don't really see how that makes sense, but just
after you 50-45 someone, you can't get ahead of them?
They're currently a better pound for pound than you.
And you 50-45 them in their weight class. It wasn't like he went up to face Johnny Emblin. It was like, no.
That's weird. But they also have like, not to like crap on them, I think they have like a weird group that selects their ratings.
That is true.
I think it's like a B list. Not to shit on anyone that's a part of that, but it's like members of the media that are like barely members of the media, I believe.
Gotcha. And that can run into some issues.
Yeah.
People who don't know that, they just look at Gegard and like, oh, he's
a
top
big
10.
name. Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't matter. Like anyone with a brain knows.
So that's Johnny Emblin character. Let's put him behind him.
Yeah. You could have read the results and known where to go with that one. Is there any news we want to get into before we start talking about the card and breaking down the fights themselves?
I mean, there's a lot of
interview. I saw a lot of headlines from that comes from the Gina Carano interview. That comes from Ronda Rousey saying like there's one person she would ever fight and it's Gina. And she's like, that's not out of animosity. That's out of respect. She's like, that's the person that basically started it all. So why not be open to that? She's like, I would do it Rocky style too. I'd go in her backyard, no cameras, and fight her just to say I did it.
That's pretty awesome.
I like that.
Did you see that clip of Mike Perry talking about why he dressed himself as and his kid as
the devil? Yeah.
People were saying he out Theo Von at being Theo Von. Yeah, I mean McGregor and Masvidal kind of got into it on Twitter. It's like, not that.
They do that every couple months. I feel like it's kind of probably good for both of their.
Honestly, it's a fight that would make a lot of sense, especially
at this point.
If McGregor wants to fight 170.
Yep.
Yeah,
it makes all the sense in the world.
Masvidal said he'll probably insult my mom or my country or something. He said, "Insult your mom. What a loser you are, mate. Me and your mom get along a little."
Nice.
And then Jorge said, "Yeah, my mom loves you, man. She knows you're about to be the biggest paycheck for me in a relatively easy fight." Up until the relatively easy fight, that was almost like complimentary of McGregor.
Yeah.
It was also interesting to hear that from Johnny Emblin which, by the way, you can still listen to the podcast with the interviews
good
evergreen. The internet here kind of stunk up the place, but the audio's great.
Is it better now? Do we look better, Lee, on this one?
Look good.
All right.
As good as we can look.
Yeah, really.
Us three, but
us.
he-
I look friggin' translucent. We talked about it last interview. But
Very
I just cannot
green.
get a tan, man.
he said
Green
It
shorts.
is it's a green out. I said to my girlfriend before I left,
green
I was
fit.
like, too much green? She was like, it matches. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm not changing now.
it was interesting to see or to hear Johnny Eblin say how much Jorge believed
Yeah.
in him. That was awesome. to
Valerie
hear.
Loretta said that to me today about going to WWE. She was like, he was one of the first people to
Are
send
they
me
still
a
kind of
message.
dating?
I don't
Or
know
maybe
if they were.
Or maybe they were just like
I think
like
they were just
MMA
posting
friends.
on like social media together,
And then
thought
people
maybe
thought-
they are. But she said he like hit her up immediately. He was like, "Way to represent Miami, way to represent Cuba. Like you're the perfect person for this." She said Jorge and Joanna were the two, like the first two to reach out. Cool knowing like the big
Yeah,
names are
very
still the
cool,
ones
for
reaching
sure.
out. Look out for that interview on this channel soon. Valerie Loretta, if you're not aware, Bellator fighter, just signed with WWE today, so she's done fighting. Pretty much sounds like.
Maybe something that hasn't been fully in the MMA world yet, but it looks like Bo Nickel is going to be on the Dana White Contender Series this summer.
Oh,
Really? That's
Yep.
soon. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Slated for like August 10th, I believe. So like one of the later Dana White Contender Series. But
I wonder if they would do with him what they did with Chase Hooper almost, where they're like, he gets a fight, and I think it was Chase Hooper. I'm remembering this. They like signed him basically, but they were like, you still need a couple fights on the regionals before you come up to UFC. Like when you're ready, you got a contract. I don't know.
I mean, that would
Depends
make
on how well
sense.
he does.
I mean, he's only 1-0 as a pro, I think.
I could see them wanting that,
and the guy
get in on a prospect.
he's super
like that.
talented. The guy he fought was like an absolute bum.
Yeah, I think I said on the show, KB texted me immediately. He was like, good for him, but LMAO at the guy he fought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was the guy he was like 35 making his debut.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's never great. That's the guy that was at PFL, Diamond Dallas Page, the wrestler. He's actually famous for that. I think he made his debut at like 38 and became a legend in the wrestling business.
God bless him.
Craziness. He was a bouncer on Asbury
TDP.
Park.
No
He like
shit.
ran a bar in Asbury
Hell
Park. Yeah.
Honestly, he's got that look.
Yeah.
Now that you say it, I'm
Back
like,
in the day, he had like
now
a
that I
long
say it,
mullet
I'm
too.
like, I could see that guy in the bar just like bopping around, like making sure everyone's all good.
Yeah.
Now he is a part or
TDP
created
yoga
one of the greatest yoga programs of all time.
was on Shark Tank. That was literally what I said to Robbie. I literally that was how I knew Diamond Dallas
That's the fucking
Page.
Shark Tank guy.
I really knew him from a Shark Tank episode.
That's awesome.
They brought him into the ring too at one point. I think it was like a commercial break or something. And Lillian Garcia is the PFL ring announcer. So she's like, I made a lot of friends at my former place in WWE, bringing out Diamond Dallas Page. And he was just like, you having a good time?
Yeah,
He's got
he got
a
on the
crazy
mic for a
promo.
second.
Yeah.
I mean,
shout out
someone
PFL, by the way. We got a PFL ad to talk about, so might as well talk about him now.
And look at the card a little bit.
Before we get into it, Kayla Harrison is fighting this week. Now, she was supposed to fight Julia Budd, but Budd had to pull out. Kayla tweeted about it. She's like, people are tweeting me like I was the one that pulled out of this friggin' fight. But it's a good card overall. What is it? Lightweights and welter?
And light heavyweights.
Light heavyweights. I'm pulling up the card right now.
She's
PFL
fighting
6.
Ramona Young, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kate
Rory
Young.
McDonald on this card.
Like Rory.
Ray Cooper.
Rory by sub also.
This is a really good card, actually.
Those are the picks I'd say. Rory by sub was a pick that I really liked.
I've heard some really bad, like people were shocked at the first fight of the night, Olena Kolesnik being like favored -200, should not be favored in any fight. And people were like, yeah, Vanessa Mello isn't very good, but you might as well take her.
Also, my girl Larissa Pacheco is fighting.
Oh yeah, who is she fighting?
She's later on.
Gina
She's
Fabian.
She's on the main card, I believe.
Fabian, yeah.
Yep.
Magomed Karimov,
Yeah.
not Magomedov is fighting.
No, yeah.
I think Magomed's from Kazakhstan.
It is welterweights too.
Oh, welterweights. Yes.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan's been on an unreal MMA run the past like few weeks. It should be, instead of like 3 or 4-0, it should be 5-0 because they stole it from our boy Zumagulov.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I think Magomed I think he's Kazakhstani, and I may be wrong, but I think he is.
And another thing about this card, I love a big pay-per-view like pre-card. The
I see what
UFC
you're
used to do
saying.
cards where it was International Fight Week. They would have like I remember it was
Midweek, right?
when Eddie Alvarez beat Rafael dos Anjos for the title.
Mhm.
That was like the night before UFC 200, or maybe 2 nights before. I remember Paige Van Zandt fought Rose Namajunas on a card like that, where it was like the night before the International Fight Week card. They don't do that anymore. It's just one card. They don't do a fight night the night
WWE does
before.
that a lot too, right? Like
Exactly,
the
with NXT.
Yeah.
I love that, and that's kind of what this serves as to me. I'm like, it's a full weekend of fighting. So PFL, ESPN, and ESPN Plus.
Friday,
8
tomorrow.
p.m. Tomorrow, yeah.
July 1st, Friday. If you're listening to this Friday morning, Friday
Prelims
afternoon.
at 6 if you want to get started early.
Yeah. Kayla's minus 3,500, 4,000. Crazy. Rory McDonald's minus 280.
Hopefully she gets a finish. She didn't love her performance last time.
Yeah, I think she gets one this time. I would like to think. I mean, especially late notice taking,
Yeah.
probably a little chip on her shoulder. She didn't get the finish last
Maybe
time.
even nerves on Young's side.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm in the main event against Kayla. This is
Yep.
crazy. Shout out PFL. Thank you for sponsoring the podcast, and look out for our PFL video coming later today. It's a great one.
That reaction you guys had to the knockout was just awesome.
It was
good.
crazy.
It's worthy of like the shock on our faces, because you watch it and even the hook from our angle, like the guy just drops downward.
Honestly, I'll give my. I did not realize till I watch it back that I low key like called it.
Yeah, you were like throwing hooks with dangerous intentions. Hook.
With like, and then just bang. Like it
Yeah.
was almost like the Rogan, like he's about to get knocked out. Like
yeah.
on the Edson Barboza kick.
Barboza.
I watched it and I was like impressed with myself. I was like,
Yeah.
damn. I was like, I said that perfect timing, but
All right, I'm
Unreal
pulling up this
knockout.
card now.
But before you do, you know what the UFC should do? Remember in Abu Dhabi when they did the 3 fights in one, the
That
3
was
fight
awesome.
card in 1 week? Just do that.
With
Just-
Holloway and Cater,
Yup.
and then it was Chiesa and
Holloway.
Magny.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and then it was Connor and Poirier. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
They should just do
oh
that.
yes, I remember because we watched the Chiesa Magny literally in the office. It was like
Yeah.
midday.
They should.
Because it was Abu Dhabi time
Yeah,
as well.
they should just do that every fight week or
Agreed.
every
Every, like,
international
big one, yeah.
every international fight week
Even
where
that, or like MSG. Imagine they did a like a little fight night card in Hulu Theater like the week of
Yeah.
MSG. That would be sick.
Unreal.
PFL coming to Hulu Theater as well. So if you're looking for tickets to that, looking to get in on some
It's-
PFL
it's
live.
August 5th. We'll be there.
Yeah, the night before Jake Paul versus possibly Tommy Fury. Who knows at this point?
Yeah, who knows? It
and
seems-
also that Jake Paul fight, fuck that. Punk is playing down the street at the Gramercy that night. Go
Yeah.
up to that instead.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's talk about UFC 276. We got a great card. Kicking things off is the bantamweight division, women's bantamweight division. Jessica Rose Clark
Mm.
versus Julia Stolleranko. Did we see Jessica Rose Clark? Was that her at PFL?
It might have been, honestly.
I think we might have seen her hanging around one of the fighters. It looked like her. Like she had the face tattoos.
If she had
She
the
had the
face, if she
tattoos
was
everywhere.
tatted out, and she looked to be in like fighting
She
shape,
was in
had-
fighting shape.
No,
with the blonde hair, like it probably was her.
There's a pretty good chance that it was.
I'm pretty sure it was her.
Anyways,
Which
I like
almost
her in
makes me
this
want to root
fight,
for her.
but,
Yeah.
she's somebody. Yeah, she's not going to be great. She didn't look great in her last fight. I think it was against
Stephanie Egger.
Jessica Rose Clark, you're talking about?
yeah, her last fight was against Egger.
She's getting a little bit older. She's 34 now. She's been in the game
JRC
a
is?
while. Yeah.
Wow.
This is also her second fight up at bantamweight, 135. She's normally a 25er.
But Stolleranko.
What are the odds on
She's
Jessica?
160 minus 167.
I like her there. I think it's a good fight to kick off the card. She's usually an exciting fighter, I think.
The odds were opened Stolleranko minus 200 and Jessica Rose Clark plus 170. And now those have basically almost flipped.
Wow.
Who opened that line?
Yeah, that was
Interesting.
tremendous.
Stolleranko is 9-7. 9-7
And
and 2.
Stolleranko's fought like.
They both have 7 losses, to be fair.
Yeah, Stolleranko, I've never been very impressed by her at all. Not that I've been impressed by Rose Clark. I mean, I have been, but we'll see.
Stolleranko has 8 of 9 wins by armbar, and I think 7 of those 8 are in the first round. So if you're gonna play this, if you want to play Stolleranko, go ahead, but you have to by sub basically.
It's a good call.
It's going to be by armbar if she's going to
Yeah.
win. And Jessica Rose Clark lost by armbar last time to Egger.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
She has 50 IQ.
I like Lee brought out the notebook. For that
Terrible.
one. The
I-
notebook always makes something more official. You put pen to paper. I think Ev has said that before. You put pen to paper.
I'm a pen
it's
to paper guy.
much
yeah,
better.
I like that. And the women's flyweight division up next, Jessica Eye versus Macy Barber. Obviously, Macy Barber's biggest test to date. Jessica Eye, former title challenger and everything. What are the odds on this one?
Macy Barber minus 286.
Whoa.
It's already up to minus 286.
Yep.
Those are steep. Do you think it should be that steep?
Yes,
I mean,
but,
obviously
like,
she tore her ACL
no.
in that one fight against what's
Modafferi.
her name? Modafferi. But like, I almost look at it like that, where I'm like, fuck, she had so much experience that it really showed dividends, paid dividends. Should she be almost minus 300 against Jessica Eye?
There's part of me
This
that kind
guy's
of
not
thinks
great
that
at this
Macy
one, I get
Barber's
that.
gonna like run through her.
I
agree.
think
I could
so,
see that
too.
happening, but I could
Like,
I could also see Jessica Eye like upset.
Like the pick that I had for this fight, I didn't have any pick for the first fight. I don't really love it either way, but I circled Barber inside the distance plus 320. I didn't hate that
I
considering
could see
she's
that
almost
happening.
minus 300 favorite. And I think she is going to dominate.
I think that's the only playable line. Yeah,
That's
think
I didn't like. I'm not going
Yeah.
to lay minus 286 with her, even though I think she's much better. But
it's either like if Barber like stays on the feet, it's probably like a split decision either way. But if like Barber takes her down and gets on top,
Yeah.
then she has all the advantage in the world.
or even maybe like a Barber like round 3 kind of thing.
Yeah,
If you're looking to like play something long like that.
Jessica Eye, I think, was maybe the second fighter I ever met. It was
No
Stipe
shit.
and her, same gym
No
in
shit.
Cleveland. Yeah, I went down to shoot a commercial.
she's back there.
Wage.
She's back there for this fight.
Oh, yeah?
she was training. I think at
In Vegas, right? For a bit? Yeah.
and she's back in Ohio for this fight.
Oh, see, I mean, that's another thing. Maybe an Ohio dog over there. Uriah Hall versus Andre Munoz in the middleweight division. This is the last one on the early prelims. This is the first card in a while that had early prelims, I feel like.
Yeah, this is a fight like it's so wide. Like I think Munoz is going to sub him, but the lines are so big that it's not even playable.
Yeah.
He's minus 180 inside the distance. That's not playable.
Minus 112
That's
just by
nuts.
submission.
Like it's just not. That's just I think that's going to happen. I think that's the most likely scenario in the fight. But I just can't lay. I can't lay minus 112 by submission, minus 180 by finish. Uriah Hall isn't not like he obviously can just pull that. You've seen the crazy
The
kicks,
explosiveness.
the punches. Yeah, like he'll pull some out of his ass. I'm not willing to risk that. But
Such a frustrating
you just-
fighter to watch because
I
of that.
know.
He's like up there. If you did the Mount Rushmore of frustrating fighters to watch, I would put him in there.
You
Him,
just see
Stefan Struve, you're
you-
like,
you
throw
just-
a jab, motherfucker. What are you doing?
when you watch, you just see the potential that he has.
Yeah.
And then he just gets beat up by guys that he probably shouldn't get beat up by.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean,
He's
I think
always like afraid to pull the trigger.
exactly.
I
It's
think
very
Munoz
tentative.
is a good parlay piece, but I get it. It's a wide line, and playing anybody inside the distance minus 180 that isn't named like Francis Ngannou against, it's just, I don't know.
Well, I also think the line's extra wide because just the way he snapped Jacare's arm, I think that was just
Yeah.
so impressive that he was able to do that submission to a guy like Jacare that I think people were just wowed by it. So I think the line wouldn't be nearly as big, especially on the sub line, if that wasn't the case.
This is the
Good
thing
point.
though. Like he was like less of a favorite against Eric Anders than he is against Uriah
Agreed,
Hall.
for
It's
sure.
like
Yeah, but things changed.
oh,
though.
I agree. Like his wrestling, like Muniz's straight wrestling is very, very good.
Yep.
And he's won 3 first-round arm bars in his last 3 UFC fights, 4-0 overall. He's looked so good. His
Yep.
wrestling's really, really crisp. His double legs, like you don't like in the last fight against Anders, like you just don't pick a guy up like that.
Yeah.
Like, truly.
Uriah Hall doesn't really get subbed either. I was just
No, he
looking
doesn't.
down
He
his
has-
list.
He has good, like just classic jiu-jitsu defense, right?
Like
Mhm.
fundamentals.
But he's training at Fortis. It's not like a jiu-jitsu gym. Like,
Yeah.
He's not known for it.
And he will get taken down.
I think
yeah.
it might
I mean,
be,
Strickland took him down a bunch.
Yeah.
if he gets subbed here, it might be the first time he's ever gotten subbed in the UFC.
Yes.
I agree with Jack. I'd be fine with putting him in the parlay because I think he should dominate. But other than that, I'm not playing him like any
By
other
the way, we're going by Google fight order. So if you want to follow along with fights that
True,
we're
yeah.
going,
Just
so if you just type in UFC 276 on Google, we're going in that order. I know sometimes like sites have different, and as the UFC changes it throughout the week, but we're going in that order. I know sometimes, unfortunately, like because we're doing it ourselves now, we can't have the graphics up
with the odds.
with
yeah, we
the
would
odds
like
and
that.
stuff. We would
Yeah.
like that, but you can follow along by the Google.
Go on the Barstool Sportsbook. Follow along with the odds there.
Yep.
Uriah Hall too for like his last 6 fights. Like Strickland lost and looked bad. Weidman broken leg dub barely.
Yeah. Anderson.
and then a split decision win and got controlled by 8 minutes against Antonio Carlos Jr. Bevon Lewis knockout in the 3rd round, but was losing 2 rounds to none, and then knocked out to Paulo Costa.
You're so right, Robbie. He's so frustrating. Like, how is he not better?
Yeah.
He's 17 and
Especially
10.
when he was younger. I know. I was just looking at it like 10
I mean,
losses.
his hype was
Jessica
real.
has 10 losses.
I mean, him just losing to Gaslam on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. It's
Like
crazy.
he was like the golden boy.
Yeah. After that knockout, I mean, that knockout still.
Ridiculous.
Muniz round 2 isn't that bad though. Muniz round 2 like plus 500.
Okay.
Uriah Hall survives 5 minutes on the ground, and then
I don't hate that.
Yeah. Brad Tavares versus Duplessis. Is that how you say that? Duplessis? Duplessis in the middleweight division. 8 p.m. This will kick off the ESPN prelims, I believe it should.
Is Duplessis the only South African fighter?
No, I don't think so. The only one?
There's got to be one other one.
JP Bice.
Yeah.
That's who it was. I think they're the only 2.
They got a great flag. Sneaky great flag.
Yeah, very
flag.
colorful. Nice
Yeah,
colors.
I like that.
Yeah, but
Brad
anyways,
Tavares in this one you guys like?
Yeah,
I assume.
but
Is he a heavy favorite?
No, Duplessis is a
is
favorite.
Get out of here.
Minus 155. The number's gone up too.
This
wasn't
is
even-
an interesting
Me
fight.
and Lee were
I
talking
like
about it yesterday.
Brad Tavares here.
I'm on Tavares.
He's gone up even bigger since yesterday. He was a smaller
I'm on
favorite.
Tavares now that it's at plus 120. I think you have to be. And Tavares by decision will be my actual play.
A lot of
that's
decisions.
plus
His last
225.
I think I'm going to stay away. I really like Duplessis, but I don't think the line is like he was even minus. He's got big time knockout power.
Tavares has got some good wins.
He does. That's why I think I'm going to
and
stay
his
away.
losses have all aged very well.
Yeah.
His losses are Whitaker.
I don't hate playing
Adesanya.
Tavares. I just like Duplessis, so I think I'm going to stay away. I don't think he probably warrants the price.
Yeah.
Tavares.
I just think I just think this is one of those fights where I'm afraid of betting Tavares, and in the second round you're like feeling really good, and then all of a sudden just bang,
Yeah.
like something dumb happens.
He gets
Duplessis
knocked out. He's
lands a
got knocked
bomb.
out before.
That's kind of his. Duplessis has a little bit of that style where he just lands that big shot.
Did Edmund knock Tavares out?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
But like he has a good chin though. I think we can all say
No,
like,
solid.
He has a solid chin.
He's not.
He
Yeah.
has very good defense. He's a very good like. I don't want to say basics, but he's very good at like the common like fighter traits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has good takedown defense. Doesn't like stay on the ground. Good striking defense. His numbers back that up. He's a much cleaner striker than Duplessis. Like when Duplessis runs in sometimes and he just like whiffs on like 3 or 4 punches. Like it, I don't. This Duplessis has the finishing
What did
upside.
Duplessis fight last?
Trevin Giles.
Yeah.
And slept him.
And he was losing. Like he won the first round, was losing the second round for sure. He was getting teed up on the feet. His striking defense, I don't think, is as good as people like think it is. He was getting rocked a little bit. I think Tavares is going to clean up the middle. Duplessis throws a lot of hooks.
Why do you think there's so much love for him in the betting market?
Because he finishes.
Yeah, he's a big knockout
big
artist, and I think they're probably the market's probably not crazy high in Tavares right now. I mean, let's call it as Tavares in this fight is essentially like basically a gatekeeper to the middleweight rankings.
Correct. I
It's
was
pretty
thinking
What Duplessis?
that's what it is. Like if,
He's another 34-year-old?
Duplessis wins,
Yeah.
he's going to be 15.
That's what
If
Duplessis.
he loses, then he won't. Like
That's
it's
what's
that
said.
simple.
Yeah.
That's what Duplessis said about him at his
Yeah,
press
at this
conference.
point-
He was like, "Oh, he's a great gatekeeper."
I mean, that's pretty much what he was for Shabazian too.
Yeah.
He was Shabazian's first kind of like big test he passed. Obviously, that hasn't gone well since then, but that's kind of what Tavares has become. At
I
this
still
point in his
think
career.
he's got time.
Shabazian.
Yeah.
I think so.
I would like to think he's so young. Like it's hard to count him out. Just watching his last few fights, if you're like a Shabazian fan, it just sucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's looked
I
good
do
in
like
the
him.
first.
I root for him.
Like I feel like maybe I don't think the last fight he did, but pretty much he'd won the first round and then just gets his ass kicked after
Yeah.
that.
Comment here from Eric Coate. Duplessis is a grappler first, but these guys couldn't care less to do a little show prep. Buddy, there is no way that he is going to hold Tavares down. Have you looked at Tavares's takedown defense?
Yeah, I mean this fight's gonna be on
It
the
is not going to be Trevin Giles on the mat.
Yeah.
Duplessis is not going to be able to hold down Tavares for minutes at a time. It has never happened in the UFC before. Not any of these other good wrestlers have been able to do it. He's not going to be able to do it.
They're
It's
like
going to
the
be more of a
exact
strike.
same size, I think.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
striker. Yeah, same height. Duplessis has a 2-inch reach advantage.
This fight will be no grappling match.
Yeah.
It'll be on the feet.
He might get a couple takedowns. Don't
Yeah,
get me
maybe.
wrong,
Yeah,
but
I mean that's possible. But
It's not going to, especially with the way the UFC is moving right now. They're not going to award like just getting a takedown and not doing anything with it.
This ain't Saruki and Gamrot.
No.
They're not rolling around on the mat. Like
no.
that's not going to be where it plays out.
In the welterweight division, one of our guys, Ian Gary, makes his return to the octagon against Gabe Green. Ian Gary, 9-0, looking to get double digits on his professional record against Gabe Green. What is the line on this one?
Ian Gary's minus 182 on the Barstool Sportsbook.
All right, so not
Smallest
super heavy.
favorite he's been in the UFC so far.
Yeah,
By a decent margin.
I feel like they're doing a good job of like slowly building him. Little stepping stone, not rushing him into anything. I would go with him in this fight as well. I would like to see him get a finish after he didn't in his last fight.
I think it's a little bit of a scary fight for him. He dealt with something similar in this last fight where I'm trying to blank who he fought last time, but he had a great chin. He like couldn't finish him.
Darian Weeks.
That's who it was. And he was a guy who didn't have a ton of experience. Where Gary doesn't have a ton. I think he's only 9-0. You know, like nothing too crazy, but
staying active. I appreciate that about Gary.
I do.
November,
Also
April, July.
Good for him. Like he kind of said it in his press conference, like he's only fights on numbered cards.
Yep.
That's where he's only been so far. This is a tough fight. I'm an Ian Gary fan. I loved on the show. He was amazing. Loved having him on the show. Big fan of his in general. This might be another stay away spot for me, almost because my honest brain almost wants me to take a little shot on Green, probably. But as a loyalty to my guy Ian Gary, I think I'm not going to play anything.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Gabriel, he's a really good chin. He fought. Me and Lee were actually talking about this fight yesterday. He fought the guy Jan Lanes, who he was in the Contender Series and knocked out this guy Burlinson, who was like the golden child, like welterweight champ in Cage Warriors. Was a massive favorite over Laney's and just got slept in the first round, I believe. And Laney's landed he hits really hard. That's like the one thing he has. Hits really hard. Landed some big bombs on Green, and Green was able to weather the storm and win the fight. I was very impressed by him. Really, really gritty win. He's just a guy he's just not a guy that you're just going to go in there and just take out.
Yeah.
Like Ian Gary's a good striker. He probably definitely much more polished striker than Laney's. Definitely doesn't hit as hard though, I'd imagine. This is going to be a tough fight for him. It's going to be interesting because he's going to be in there in his face.
Let me bring this up. We talked to Anthony Pettis last week about right after he had a daughter. He said he felt more motivated than ever. It like reminded him of what's important or whatever. Ian Gary's wife, pregnant. Will that help him or will that hurt him because he's attending to a pregnant wife all the time, focus elsewhere?
I'm all in on Ian Gary in this fight.
If fighting is 90% mental. Like a lot of
I
people
like
say.
this. I mean, he has the incoming dad strength. I think he's just gonna pepper up. Like Green will have his moments in the fight, but I think he has a significant reach advantage. Ian Gary does. What?
Oh yeah.
Well, 1 inch.
Only 1 inch.
Oh, one.
Green's longer than I thought.
5 inch height advantage, 1 inch reach advantage.
Oh, Green's much
crazy.
longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But I still
Gary's
think
long.
his
It's not like he's
striking.
got
Gary's a
arms.
lanky guy. Yeah.
I still think his striking will come in advantage. Will help him here. I don't think he's going to knock out Gabe Green. I think if you do want to play it safe, you can play him overall just at that minus 180 number. Do I think he's a parlay piece? No, but I do like him as a straight pick, and I will be picking him. But via decision, what is he like plus 120?
He is. Let me get a quick check. By decision, he is 185.
That's
Yeah, those are
not
not
bad because
Yeah.
I think
so to win by finish, he's plus 175.
I think
So similar, obviously.
I do agree with Abs Reed, and he told me this earlier in the week. Like I think Gabe Green does have a solid chin, and he showed that in his last fight. And I think Gary Green will have his moments, but I think Gary could win this 29-28. Maybe it's a split, but I feel confident that Ian Gary is going to win this 29-28, even a 30-27.
I'm on Gabe Green.
Oh,
I had to.
wow.
I had to.
Lee has no ties. He wasn't here yet.
Yeah,
for
fact.
Ian Gary.
Gabe Green has much better chin. Grappling upside can absolutely hold him against the fence.
Well, what's Gary's bad chin?
I was going to say, Gary's got a pretty good chin.
Well, if you're comparing chins,
Well,
if
what was his bad chin?
Gary,
Yeah.
let me rephrase that. He doesn't have a bad chin necessarily because he hasn't been tested,
Yeah.
but Green hits like a rock. And I think that he's going to eventually find the target. And I don't think Gary will have as much of an impact on Green that Green would have on Gary.
You think Gary's faster though?
Yeah, absolutely.
He definitely faster.
Absolutely, he is faster. But Green walks forward all the time. He will be pressing him all the time. I think that this is going to be more of a cage clinch scenario, and holding him against the cage and really going to the body. He worked the body really well against Lioness, and that's what got him the knockout in the last fight. I think he's going to do more of the same. Green needs to be completely out for him to be finished. And I don't know if that's really going to happen. Maybe it comes off a kick. That's really what I could see it coming
for the highlight reel.
But I think my pick's going to be Gabe Green round 3 or decision plus 320. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just whoever like
Good
makes
odds
it
on
their fight, where it's like it's kind of the classic, like obviously Ian Gary's the long, athletic, technical striker versus kind of a guy who wants to, like Lee said, get in the clinch, make it dirty. He's going to come forward, press, like get in his face.
Yeah.
And kind of whoever's able to, like, if Gary can stay on the outside, he definitely is capable of picking him apart. But I think Green's going to be able to make it dirty at significant points in the fight for sure.
Green.
That's just his style. Like he just is going to get in your face. He's going to make it messy. He knows that's his path.
Which might work for Gary too, because he's a great counter puncher.
For sure. Yeah. We saw that in the Garden. That was a big time.
Yeah.
Which I think Gabe Green's much better than Williams.
That was very Conor-esque.
But that was a big time. That was a sweet knockout.
But also,
really
like
nice.
Gabe Green, the first 5 or a few minutes of that fight that he fought on
the Lioness.
This last
he was
fight.
hurt big time.
Yeah, it's not like
No, he's hittable. He's definitely
very hittable.
Lioness just hits really hard.
He doesn't move his head. Like he has good like striking defense.
He also has a big dome.
Yeah.
His head, he just has a big head in general.
He moves out of the way pretty well, but he keeps his head like on the center line way too often. I think it's going to be a close fight, but if these odds keep running up, like what they have been doing, like Ian Gary was like minus 140 a couple days ago. I think he probably gets to like minus 210 by fight night, minus 220, and Gabe Green's going to be like plus 170.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to have to take it.
170 would be really nice.
Yeah,
to be honest.
It's too much for a guy that's been tested, who has much better record of competition and has the grappling upside.
Who's tested Gabe Green?
He faced D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez in his opening fight at 170, and then beat Lioness in his last fight, and then he beat somebody else. But it was he beat Phil Rowe, which is basically
Phil Rowe's a pretty good win.
and Phil Rowe is like the same size as Ian Gary, which was
similar body types, ish.
And he held him against the cage, got a couple takedowns, did good body work, and I think it can be very similar replicated. Sorry.
The next fight on this card is Jim Miller versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone 2, the rematch.
Listen, Jim Miller, the knockout artist, all of a sudden,
and I don't think that
unbelievable
bodes well for Cowboy.
No.
I think Jim Miller is a guy who's a vet, but can still go in the cage. And unfortunately, I don't think the same about Cowboy. I think he's pretty much done. So I'm going with the Jersey boy by finish in this one.
He's minus 210 here. Yeah, he's plus 110 by finish. I don't love that price. I'm probably going to play it, though, because I think it is the most likely outcome, in my opinion. I'll probably put maybe
I'd love
just a
to see
unit
Cowboy
on.
put up a good fight.
I
I'd
would
love to
too.
see like
I
one
really
last
would too.
war, you know?
I mean, he's weirdly had his moments like in between where I think this was maybe a year and a half ago or so now, but he had a really good scrap that came to a draw against Nico Price.
Yeah.
But then he's had the tough ones, obviously, because like, the Moreno fight was bad.
Yeah. He had the Hernandez win, which was like post-Connor fight, right? Or was that pre?
That was pre, because I was in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You remember that was in Brooklyn?
That was on the TJ.
Yep. It was on the first ESPN card. Yeah. I mean, we sat here a few weeks ago and I was saying like I like Cowboy. I like him even more here that I don't have to play juice on him. Like I don't really like. I mean, I think these guys are both like they're not legends. I think Cowboy's more of a legend than Jim Miller, but they're both UFC legends. Yeah. And this is a great fight. Not a great fight, but something I'm looking forward to see what happens. I would love to see Cowboy get another win. He said yesterday he wants to get to 50, so this would be his 48th. Then he wants 2 more fights. That may be a lot, especially if Jim Miller knocks him out. I think Cowboy's worth the shot. Obviously, he's an underdog play. I don't feel like it's the best play in the world. I think this is more 50-50 fight in my mind, which then you take the underdog. So we'll see.
Sure.
It's a great fight to have on this card. It feels like an international fight week.
Yeah,
The legends on the card and everything. It's good names on the prelims, especially.
And where's Jim Miller from in Jersey?
I don't know where.
Okay.
Actually, that's a good question.
We'll look it up. I don't.
I'm surprised Lee doesn't know what gym he trained in when he was like 14.
He's from Miller Brothers Academy.
Sparta Township. Interesting.
Sparta's North Jersey, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think it's near like.
What's your thoughts on this fight, Lee?
I don't trust Jim Miller's cardio. He really only has like 7.5 minutes.
Oh, it's way north. It's that red.
I would say I think it's only like I grew up. I think I want to say like 30 minutes from there.
Oh yeah, it's way north. Like yeah.
I think close to the New York border.
It is. Yeah.
Almost a New York boy. But yeah, I don't think Miller has especially on short notice too. I don't know. He's 30 or 38, I think. I don't know. I don't think he'll have any cardio. Maybe
He said he doesn't have to cut any weight, which
I agree.
will probably help.
Yeah.
But he never had cardio ever. So I mean, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying from the perspective.
In the last fight against like Mata and Gonzalez, like I think if they would have survived like that first that
onslaught.
In the second round, I think they probably come back and win that fight pretty easily. Like he beat Selecki in round 1, so I think he can beat anybody in round 1. But after that, he kind of falls off the cliff. Cowboy round 3 plus 1,500 is not a bad look.
I love it.
Plus 1,500. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah. All right.
that-
I see why you could see that.
Like that's like,
Give me Cowboy
Fine.
round 3
Yeah.
If
Dig
Cowboy
deep for one.
Yeah.
if Cowboy just survives, he's like
with a pillow punch. Jim Miller dies of not dies actually, but
He's been knocking guys out.
I don't want him actually to die.
He slept Nicholas Mata.
Yeah,
His
he
last
slept.
fight was crazy.
Yeah,
His last 2 fights have been by knockout.
Eric Gonzalez.
That's
and-
right.
What fight doesn't go the distance in this? bad
minus
boy?
220.
Like, yeah, it's big. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that bad though.
I don't think that's that bad.
No, I mean, yeah, I'd be surprised if it went all 30.
I think that's a parlay piece. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for our parlay, but I don't.
Oh
think,
yeah.
I don't think that's a bad parlay piece for this weekend.
Like if you want to make a fight doesn't go the distance, Magic MMA parlay type. Like I think that's one to put in there.
I agree.
In the lightweight division, the headliner of the prelims, this one will lead us into the pay-per-view. Brad Riddell versus Jalen Turner.
This is another one we're going to be conflicted on.
This is a banger of a
I've
fight.
been so back and forth on this one. I really still am.
I like Turner.
I also like
He likes Turner, yeah.
I like Turner.
Sometimes Lee and I blow our load pause in talking about the fights because we're like in the gambling cave or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know this one I didn't have that big of a read on it, but then I watched a Riddell fight or two, and I'm definitely leaning towards Riddell. Fight doesn't go the distance here. I feel the most confident.
Riddell's
Yeah,
really
I like
good.
that a lot.
Yeah,
Riddell's really good.
I think Jalen Turner's great too.
Riddell's fought
What is
better.
he called? Like the spider web or
The
something?
tarantula.
Tarantula.
He
Weighed in with the tarantula.
literally like brings tarantula to the weigh-ins.
And
Or
if
he
you're a
has-
You
wild
think he
card
has it
like
for the
that,
ceremonial one?
He might. He had
Probably.
it for the last one.
But then what if you drop it by accident and then it's a home alone
He
situation?
literally has tarantulas
Yeah.
as pets.
See, that's fucked up. I can't do both.
But
But you don't want to fight a guy that has tarantulas.
yeah, like if
I would never want to fight a guy that has tarantulas because I'm terrified
I want to be
of
in
that
his
guy.
corner though. He's a psycho.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
You weigh in with a tarantula, you're crazy.
it's like when we were talking.
And I
to
like crazy guys.
Johnny
when it comes to
Eblin. He
fights.
was talking about like guys. He was just like, yeah, that guy's just fucking psycho.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
Johnny Eblin also psycho. Like, yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
start training probably boxing once I get back.
So the line on just for the people is Jalen Turner's minus 155, Brad Riddell plus 124. Earlier in the week, I think I was on Turner, and at this moment, I think I'm kind of like flipping myself on Riddell a little bit. Riddell's really good. There's something about kind of I think City Kickboxing goes for the sweep here. We'll obviously get to the other fights later.
I always forget he's City Kickboxing because Brad Riddell sounds such like an American name.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, he wrestled at Iowa and like
and I will say in his last, he looked really good against Fiziev. Like Fiziev, I think was on the way to win that fight. Lands the massive like spinning kick, knocks him out at I believe it was like the beginning, middle of the third round, I believe, but maybe even towards the end.
But Brad's cardio
He's
great.
good, dude. Riddell's a good fighter. Him and Dober had a great scrap that he got the win in. That was a really close fight. And Dober's pretty solid fighter.
I like Dober.
Yeah. Great.
This is tough because Jalen Turner's like such a specimen.
Yeah.
Like he's so big and long, and he's been so good at 155 since
He's
he
so
moved down.
long.
Like he's just a monster. So it's really tough. This is a huge almost Riddell slightly gatekeeping Turner a little bit, but I do think like Riddell, he's still young enough. This kind of like uplift him in the
I think
lightweight
whoever
rankings
wins
still.
this bad boy is
Getting a pretty big next fight for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think the winner of this is probably getting at least someone in the top.
And
like,
the loser like has to take a step down, but they can be back.
Oh yeah, they can
within
be
a few
especially
fights.
like a Jalen Turner. He can lose and get a big finish and be back in one. I mean, the last fight against Malarkey was really impressive, but like I said, Riddell's just fought better guys. I think right now I kind of like Riddell. I'm not like definitely nowhere near my favorite pick in the card or anything like that. Like this is a great fight from
It's not
fan
the easiest
perspective.
card to make a parlay for.
There's a few I like coming up that I like.
Into the
For main card, yeah.
main card.
But yeah, I guess I'll say for my picks. I'll say my picks Riddell straight up, just money line.
I'll go Turner. Me and Lee go Turner
I don't-
on this one.
I think the line that it is now, I think the play would be Riddell. I got Turner early. I got him at -124.
Mhm.
And now he's at -155.
Yeah,
But Riddell has really good leg kicks. I think that's something that that is
his kickboxing is just great.
The Muay Thai is like he a former Tiger Muay Thai coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's legit. He has really good leg kicks. I think that Riddell could actually use takedowns in this fight. He's gotten
Me too.
He's gotten him in the last fights. And I don't know how good Turner is. I think Turner's wrestling and not getting taken down is good, but I don't know how well he would do from bottom. But again, I don't know how good Riddell is on top.
At 155, we just haven't seen Turner fight the best competition yet.
No, yeah, but like Medic looked a lot better in his last fight against
for sure
against Morales,
Mm.
and I nobody's done that to Jamie Malarkey like ever in the.
He did run. He was dominant. For
Unless
sure.
you're that good, you don't do that to a guy like Jamie Malarkey. Like I think that Turner's was the side. He throws more volume. He kicks. He's going to have the range advantage. He's going to have an
much bigger
8-inch height advantage.
Yep.
8-inch height advantage, 4.5 on the reach. But man, it's going to be a really good fight. I think fight doesn't go the distance is the best play of the card.
-200.
Yeah.
Best play of the card, you think?
Or best play of the fight.
Okay.
Best play of the fight is that. I still like Turner though.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to really test Riddell. Riddell actually was coaching Malarkey for his fight because Malarkey went to City Kickboxing for the Turner fight. And if you were game planning for Turner and then Malarkey looked like that against him, I don't know.
What does that do to the confidence?
Yeah. He ran through Malarkey.
The main card now, we can get into it. UFC 276, the pay-per-view card kicks off with Sugar Shawn versus Pedro Munoz. Sugar Shawn said he loves kicking off these pay-per-view cards. He said he will be ready to main event in a couple more fights when he's making $1 million. That's what he said this week. He's like, I'm ready to main event when I make 7 figures on a fight.
I mean, he's definitely a guy, his next contract, he's getting points.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah.
He sells pay-per-views 100%.
He does, and he's probably going to sell a lot this weekend.
For sure.
You can see it around the office. I feel like people are like, oh, Sugar Shawn's fighting. That's Trent's favorite fighter. Little low-key fun fact
I
about
love watching
Trent.
him fight.
Yeah, that was like the first UFC fighter that since when I was living with Trent, he was like, oh, I'm really getting into this guy. I started watching his vlogs and everything. I'm also a huge Sugar guy, so I have to ride with Sugar in this
Sunday
fight.
Conversation alum.
Yeah, he was a great Sunday conversation. And just, I would say, overall friend of Barstool. He's always friendly with
huge fan of
Peggy, our
his.
talent booker.
Yeah, he seems. Yeah, he kind of has a bad reputation within the MMA world, but he seems just to be. At least I haven't heard any really bad stories about him.
Always been cool to me.
Yeah,
He's got the few moments on his podcast
it's
talking about
the-
Megan Anderson or whatever.
It's the old. He's obviously not gonna. The older fans are not gonna love.
of course.
The colored hair. And,
yeah, he's a new school
he
guy.
hangs out with Nelk boys and like that kind of thing. Like he's a YouTuber.
The open relationship people like to give him shit about.
Yeah, that's God.
I don't care
bless
about
him. Let him
that.
live,
What he does in his love life, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lovely young daughter. I follow him on Instagram. I watch a lot of his
He's got
YouTube
great
content.
merch. Have you seen his?
Yeah, his merch is awesome.
Watermelon sugar merch.
I actually was gonna buy one of the hats. I think
Those
I was
are
debating
fire.
it.
Yeah,
He's got a good. I'm a big fan of his. Honestly, the weird thing for me is my like gambling brain. I think like the play that I think is the most playable is Munoz inside the distance. Even though I think Sugar is going to win, I just think a lot of the like Munoz has never been finished in his. He's never been knocked out in his career. I believe never been finished, and I believe all of his losses are to champions.
Wow.
At least, well, former champion.
This is a
Bellator's.
legitimately like great
So
fight for
think- just
Sugar
think
in terms
his-
of if he gets this win.
Munoz is getting
legitimate.
Munoz has got a lot of shit for he's lost his last few fights. I mean, they've been to Dominic Cruz,
Yeah.
where he dropped him, I believe, twice, at least once in the first round, and then lost the second and third round. He lost a close fight where he definitely lost, but it was a competitive fight to Jose Aldo.
Yep.
Like he lost a close fight that I think he won. It was kind of bullshit to Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, I thought.
I thought he won the fight. I think it was whatever. I'm a big Frankie guy, so I was good with it in the moment. But just looking back on it in general, he's very good. Like even though he's lost, like had taken some losses, he's very, very good. Obviously, the big question with Sugar is always his durability, specifically his legs.
Yeah.
And
And
taking some of those kicks.
Munoz loves those kicks.
That's the only
Probably
thing that
gonna fire
concerns
him
me.
off from the moment this fight starts.
For sure. That's
But-
everybody's game plan when you fight Sugar.
in Sugar's defense, was it just a freak accident?
I think-
might have
the
been, like,
Cheeto
when the
one
nerve
was. I
gets
think he
dead
just
like
caught
that. Yeah.
He just caught the nerve, kind of similar to how
That being said, his
say
legs,
Anthony Smith and like Jimmy Crute, like he just caught the
because
nerve
he's
kind of thing.
so tall,
Yeah,
his legs are very lanky.
yeah, for sure. I like I said, I think Sugar should win the fight. Like I think he's very
It's a
talented.
tough fight for him.
I think he's for real. Like I think obviously this is the test where if he wins this fight, he's like
you can't deny
a fight or two away from the belt. Like he's right. He's starting to get close. Where if he loses this fight, then like what do? You're kind of in a weird spot because he's starting to get a little. Obviously, he's still a superstar.
Steve
he-
ranking next to his name. He does, right?
He's like 14 or 13.
13, 14, something
Yeah.
like that.
So if he wins this fight, he's in the top 10
Yeah.
in a stacked bantamweight division. A lot of fights. He already talking about this week. He's already saying like Peter Yan doesn't have a fight. Like he's already calling out names like that, which I respect. But obviously he's got to get through Munoz first. I like him. I think he should win. I think just laying the 300 with him is scary against a guy as good as Pedro
Yeah.
Munoz.
I think he's parlay. I think he's a parlay piece.
I do too. Like I'm willing to put him in the parlay just
I'm with
also
you.
because
Same.
I'm a Sugar rider.
And it will be, I think it's a great way to promote.
Totally. People want to bet on Sugar.
For sure. Like I would just say the people like
Where
if
would you put him in terms of popular UFC fighters?
top
top-
10.
Top 10 for
Yeah.
sure.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
He's
maybe
close
even
to the
top five.
Because of his YouTube presence, I think he's
Might be top 5. I would say
Gaethje,
Connor, if you like count
Gaethje.
Connor, is still number 1.
Gaethje, Connor, like
Adesanya is without question top 5.
Adesanya, Masvidal, Poirier is up there at this point.
yeah.
I mean, I think Jorge and Colby are.
Definitely.
Chandler's made himself.
Chandler's up there now
Yeah.
too, for sure.
And he's-
I think he's up there in that group. See, he's different because he kind of has a lot of non-traditional fight fans.
Yeah.
He has
Wow, he has 2.2 million on Instagram.
like he has a big and
Sean
like
does.
yeah,
and he's
that's
some-
a lot.
he's
Yeah.
somebody who when Dana talks about certain guys like Hamzat who do big numbers and
Check
Patty,
like Masvidal
and
and
Patty does
Izzy.
big numbers.
I
He
think-
does big numbers. Izzy has a ton of followers.
Yeah.
That's actually a debate we can get into a little bit. So some people were talking about this week about how
I saw this. Yeah,
which I think it's bogus, but they were saying that basically the co-main event is the real main event.
before
There were people trying to make an argument that Holloway and
6.5
Volkanovski are
million.
bigger stars than Adesanya, which I find just
I don't
unequivocally
think that's
false.
true. I don't think that's
Adesanya is a much bigger star than both of them.
true. Holloway's close.
No,
I think it's.
No,
I think
no,
it's,
no, no, no.
You want to talk? You want to talk buys? You want to talk like
No,
pay-per-view
no,
buys?
I think.
it's not even close.
I
don't
think
think it's close.
Adesanya is the bigger draw, but I don't think it's. I think the gap is smaller than what you guys think.
no, I think
I think
Izzy,
it's big. I think it's huge.
I think Izzy is the guy. When you
I think-
take away
okay.
McGregor,
Yes, I
And
agree.
now-
I think he's like the
It's him
active
and
champion.
Masvidal.
That's
I think
like
they're
and then
But-
Nagano does have an international appeal that
For
is
sure.
massive.
What about when Max was bigger? Like what?
What?
Like what do we? Like what do we think?
he never sold more than like 300K. Adesanya does like 800, 700.
It's a good point.
That's true.
I only have those numbers because the debate came up and
Yeah.
people were posting them. I was looking into it a little bit. Like his biggest ones do 700-800. Max never did more than like 3 and change.
Yeah.
And he's fought like Aldo on main cards. He's fought on some big main cards. He fought Poirier on a main card.
It's like Max is almost more like a people's champ.
Exactly,
Yeah,
100%.
like,
of it
like an
then.
MMA
he's,
fighter.
he's an MMA like goat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
correct,
100%.
exactly.
100%. He's the people's champ.
But
no
I don't
doubt.
think like
And I love Holloway. This is not me trying to like poo-poo Holloway. It's more just I think people need to realize
It's more
Adesanya.
impressive for Adesanya.
Adesanya is a massive superstar.
Holloway even has like it's not like Holloway doesn't have the outside presence. Like he's got the Twitch account.
He's got a good
he's got
personality.
his
for sure.
son, Mini Bless, like
funny.
all of that.
Yeah, he's got a very
he's
good
got a
person.
great
So it
personality.
is more of a
Daddest man
notch
alive.
in
Dad.
Adesanya's belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see him in DC like
Yeah.
pushing each other around and everything? That's such a
Izzy,
funny
but
rivalry.
Izzy's, this goes to show right now there's a lot of great personalities within UFC. even MMA as a whole, if you want to go to Bellator and then PFL. Kayla, Sabatello. We saw like Johnny Eblin is coming onto the scene, but we saw him. He would have stayed here. I think
He's just
for
a
like 2
personal
hours.
guy. I think people will relate to him in terms of just like he's a normal guy.
And then Izzy's amazing. And then we have in our next fight one of the most outspoken fighters in the what?
For this fight, question, right? Do you think that Shawn, do you think that O'Malley or Cruz is quicker? Because in his last fight, Munoz was not able to really land any leg kicks. And I think if we're going to talk about this fight for O'Malley and how leg kicks have affected him and how Munoz is such a good leg kicker, he wasn't really able to do that versus Dom at all. And I think O'Malley is just as quick as Dom.
I would say he's quicker.
Yeah. I think
he's just spry. Like
that only adds to me.
He's young and athletic. No, I want Sugar in the parlay. My only thing would be like if you're looking for something juicing, I don't think Munoz plus 500 inside this is like a terrible play. Like I said, I think Sugar should win, and I think there's a good chance he even like looks the price.
Sugar's so fast, dude.
He's just super athletic, and he just keeps getting better and better. This is it's a big test, so I understand like that's kind of where I have my slight pause, but I like him in the parlay.
I don't think like for a parlay piece either, like over 1.5 minus 225 is that bad either. Like if you're gonna, if you're gonna take like Munoz doesn't get knocked out,
super durable for sure.
Much better. It's a much improved fighter for O'Malley. Like I don't think it's a bad parlay piece.
This next fight, I feel like we're about to get in a time machine, almost like the Jim Miller Donald Cerrone fight, and go back to a couple of years ago for just a slugfest between Brian Barberena and Robbie Lawler. I got to root for Robbie Lawler. He's been my guy since he was the champ, but I'm just really rooting for this one to be a 3-round Gotti Ward with elbows part 2.
Me and Lee talked a little about this one yesterday. I think we disagree a little bit. I like Robbie.
Me too.
I like Robbie. I think he's going to win the fight.
Me too.
I
think Barberena's a bum, dude.
I'm not crazy about Barberena.
I'm not crazy about Barberena either, but Robbie Lawler lost around to Nick Diaz. Like
Nick Diaz can. I'm going to play with. I hear you.
40, yeah, he's getting.
He's able to pull out like he's got the Nick Diaz factor a little bit. He's able to like pull that out. But when it came to like when push came to shove, Lawler was whooping that ass.
He was,
yeah, at the end for sure. But
like, you know what's crazy? He's always like Lawler has the reach. Lawler's 5'9" versus Brian Barberena 6 foot, and Lawler's got a 2-inch reach advantage.
There was something too I saw in Lawler in that fight where he just looked like rejuvenated a little.
He did. I agree with you.
Like he looked so much better than his the Neil Magny fight, which those were frustrating fights because he just was getting like grapple clinch fucked.
And the Colby fight was like tough in terms of like
for sure
volumes to death.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I saw a little bit of that old like flicker in his eye of Robbie. So I like Robbie in this fight. Maybe I'm walking into the sucker play, but I like Robbie and I'm going to bet on him.
And I think Barberena is the perfect opponent for Robbie to stand and bang with. Like
hittable.
Yeah, definitely.
So hittable.
We saw Barberena in that UFC Columbus card
against
Matt Brown. It was just like that was like a meme fight, but they were just.
I love those.
They were
fights.
almost Gotti War with elbows.
Yeah, they were almost like dying. They were almost.
Dave just did his podcast. You see that? Dave also revealed this is Spinnin Backfist news. He said he's walking Patty and Molly out to the cage. So that's going to be awesome.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Are they going to make him wear a Venom fight kit? How funny would that be?
That'd be sick.
Hell yeah!
In the UFC hat, just like
that'd be awesome. McCann on the back. And they're also available in the game as of today.
Just little.
You get the UFC game.
I did see that.
Dave with like the towel over his shoulder.
Yeah,
just like giving Patty a hug before the fight.
Like, he's got the gloves on.
Like it's like coach, like other corner guy, cut guy, Dave.
Yeah,
quick hug before we get in there.
He's sweet.
Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira. Unbelievable fight. This is going to be fireworks. This is going to be, I don't know what to expect from it. I could see someone doing a backflip in this fight. I know they're not known for it, but they're just such wild cards that who knows?
I might call this one like the people's main event.
This
like
fight,
like the hardcore MMA fans. This is like
I can't wait.
Super. How could you not be excited to see this fight?
And I don't know what's going to. I'm going to be on Sean Strickland without a doubt. But I don't know what's going to happen. Like I don't mind Pereira, but that being said, Pereira,
I think Strickland will beat him.
If Strickland can wrestle,
that's what he's going to.
Also, he said it with a smirk on his face. He was like, on Spinning Backfist.
He's like, I could wrestle.
I get why they put me up against Pereira, another striker. Well, maybe I'm gonna wrestle.
I'm telling you, I think he's gonna do like a little bit, kind of what he did to Uriah a little bit. I think Pereira is more dangerous than Uriah. Although Uriah is obviously extremely dangerous. I think Pereira is more willing to pull the trigger. But I think he's going to do a similar to that, like use the jab and just shoot double legs.
Did you see Strickland's talking about Pereira, why Strickland's a real fighter and Pereira's not? He's just saying because, he has an 80-inch reach. Just put your hand down, go like this and like that. And he did he showed an example at his press conference. And obviously after this, I think everybody will be watching the UFC press conference with Strickland on it. I'm sure there will be some sound bites from him. Who knows? But and
Dana
I
might
have
to
no
reel
idea
him in.
what the sound bites will be.
Yeah.
But
There's a chance Dana just has to be like, all right, Strickland. Is Dana going to be running the press conference? I assume. Right? He's in Vegas.
I would think so for this one.
Rogan's
also,
back
it's
on.
just so fascinating too because obviously the UFC just wants Pereira to win this fight so badly to set up a Pereira Adesanya mega fight.
Definitely.
And get
So there's going
Strickland
to be words exchanged there probably as well on that end. Like that's obviously going
to him.
come up.
What is him and Adesanya's relationship with at this point?
So Adesanya was you could tell he didn't bother him, but when they asked him about it, he was very you can tell he wants it.
He
you
wouldn't
can tell
mind it.
I think he's almost rooting for Pereira because he's confident himself. He wants to end that chapter. He wants to get the last.
I almost want to see
last
are they going to bump into each other backstage? What is that interaction going to be?
I think for Adesanya, I think he's a guy who I think he's very secure with himself, and I think it's I think it's a chip on his shoulder, but it's not something that he's a demon he's carrying with him. This guy got me kind of thing. I think he's very good with what he's accomplished, and he knows how talented he is. And the first fight in kickboxing. It was I would love to go back and watch it. From a lot of people I've talked to, it's very controversial decision, close fight that he thought he won, that he lost. And the second fight, he was dominating the fight and just got caught.
Yeah.
And he won the first 2 rounds clearly.
If you haven't seen
and just
that,
got knocked out by a big left hand. And Pereira hits devastatingly hard. He's extremely talented. He's very big. He's 6'4". He's 80-inch reach, and he hits like a fucking nuke. He's a cannon.
Yeah.
He's super powerful.
He's out of a lab, man.
Yeah.
He's out
when
of
you
a
just see
fucking
him,
lab.
you're like, whoa.
He's
his knees.
His just and it's almost I have the visceral reactions this weekend when Olberg was walking out. I'm just you are built like a fucking perfect.
Yeah.
You're tall, long reach, chiseled, the whole nine. And when I see Pereira, I was just looking at him at the press conference, just holding the mic, and it was just your reach is just you're not a real human being.
Dude, he's huge. His hands are huge. His legs are long. His arms are long. He's just a monster.
He's a monster, but I think Strickland's a monster too, and he's such a psycho that he'll do anything to win this fight. It's interesting. It's definitely a 1.5 unit play for me. Nothing
Are we all on Strickland though?
I like Strickland
Lee,
a lot.
you on Strickland?
Strickland by submission. You have to play.
Yeah.
I think for this fight, it's 11-1.
Wow.
Plus 1100. You have to play it. He's a brown belt, certified brown belt. And everybody says he's a very good grappler.
Evelyn was telling
just
us
said
that they
that,
did 5 rounds of grappling when they were together.
Yeah.
And Evelyn was an All-American wrestler.
Yeah. So he has good. He's good on the ground.
That's another thing. We know he went to ATT and trained with all those savages for this.
And he trained with the guy that beat Pereira, one of the old kickboxing guys that beat him handily. So learning little tricks of the trade. Yep.
Yeah.
I think best bet though for this fight is over 1.5 minus 175. I got it at. That's gonna be my best play. I think either Strickland jabs him to death, makes it a boring fight. Maybe mix it in the wrestling, but I will also be on Strickland submission if he does take it down early.
Pereira's first fight in the UFC was the UFC or in MSG.
The grease guy.
Yeah, Michaelitis.
Yep. Yeah.
And Michaelitis looked good in the first round before he got caught.
Yeah. He got hit with a massive knee.
And Michaelitis was wrestling him in a lot of grappling, and I think
he was able to take him down.
I think Shawn will be able to do that. And so, yeah, we'll get to the parlay, but maybe we'll see.
The fight's a pick 'em fight right now.
Oh, wow.
Bruno Silva got him down, but Bruno Silva, that's his first takedowns ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that fight was a great fight. It was a war.
I don't think that deserved to be a 30-27.
No, I thought Pereira won it in the last round. He had a little more in the tank in the third round.
I think it was
pushing forward.
I think it was a clear decision for Pereira, but 3 judges had it 30-27. I thought that was a little crazy.
It was close fight till the end.
But
Pereira was close to a finish in the closing minute.
I don't know how this is by far the best guy he's faced in MMA. He's gonna jab him to death. he's going to come forward. You know what he's going to do. And then if he can switch it up also. I like Strickland.
The next fight, our co-main event, is in the featherweight division. It is Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway III. In this fight, I've been going back and forth on a ton. My heart says Holloway. I love Holloway. I know we just had Volkanovski in here. I really like him, but Holloway I've known for years. He was like one of the first people to accept
still wearing
an
that
interview.
Yankees hat.
Yeah. The red Yankees.
He's wearing the red one everywhere.
I think I got a black one too. So he's just a Yankees guy now.
I feel like Volk, after that last performance against Zombie especially, is on another level right now. And the time that's passed since the last two fights, I think has only maybe hurt Holloway. He's gotten a little older in that time. They both have, but like Volkanovski's been active. He's been beating the best still. I view him as getting a win here. I also think I scored the first fight for Holloway. I don't remember how I scored the second.
I love Volkanovski in this fight.
Yeah.
I actually feel like really, really confident.
I hate to say it, but I almost think he's going to finish Holloway.
I almost think it's play of the year type. Like
I just think he's gotten like kind of going off what you said, Robbie. I think it's funny because Holloway's still only 30, which is crazy. He's been in the UFC to his 20,
his fight age is like Jose.
He's old 30. I think we talked about it a little bit this week. I think we're starting to see him get to a point where he's like he's 30. He's a grown ass man, and it just looks to me he just looks skinny. I don't know, like it just looks like 145 is getting tougher and tougher. It almost looks to me like
is one jump up there.
That's what I'm saying.
If he loses this fight, he has to go up, right?
I kind of think so too. That's what I was just gonna say. I think that's probably a good chance.
It's tough though, because when he went up there, he didn't look.
He held his own. Like Poirier pieced him up, but he held his own. Like he had a lot of moments in that fight.
I remember
the
just
power
like
difference.
Small, yeah.
The power difference is big because even at 145, he's not super powerful. He just will volume your face off.
Yeah.
He talked about that Poirier fight and how like when he did the climb up to 55, he didn't really like gain any like muscle or like really like mass.
He didn't do it properly. It was
correct.
He just cut less.
Exactly. And so like maybe if he
gets his body like
you gotta build up to it.
You can work with the nutritionist.
Put a little more muscle
get you
on
up to that.
Thing.
Yeah.
I really like Volkanovski. I think he's gonna roll might be strong. I think he wins decisively. I think he wins this time, and there's no.
I feel the same way.
There's no robbery talk. There's no that was bullshit. I think this people walk away from this like Volkanovski is put some respect on the champ's
also
name.
Maybe
he's the 145 GOAT right now.
He gets some
and maybe becomes the GOAT of 145 period. In some people's eyes, I believe he may.
It seems like it should be a parlay piece. I would feel bad tweeting it. Max would see it.
Oh yeah, you like know him from the. You interviewed him on his basement?
Interviewed him a few times, and we've done a ton with Game Time with him. He will play Call of
Duty
with him
big
and
gamer.
whatnot. Yeah.
I mean, we did.
I would love to have him in the parlay because
yeah.
I think my favorite play on I will get to Adesanya. I think my favorite play on the card is the end still parlay.
Oh yeah.
I think Volk. How Volk looked against, and I know it was Korean Zombie.
But he was on another level.
And when he was
and the way Max was against Yair, like he won, he did not look like spectacular.
Yeah.
And Yair's a very good fighter, but I'm saying he did not like totally outclass Yair.
That's the thing for me more than anything.
And I think Volkanovski would smoke Yair. And listen, MMA math doesn't work like that. I get it. I just think Volkanovski has lifted himself into a different level that I don't know if Max is currently at.
Yeah, where we saw Volkanovski recently is just. It also seems like he's leveling up in a way, and it makes sense because he hasn't been training like this forever. We know he was past rugby. I think he almost looked like he was in a zone that it was just like, this is just light work to me against Korean Zombie.
I love the confidence he's exuding, especially after the Korean Zombie one. Like he's finally, you can see he feels like he's coming into his own.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing it too. Like you just see
he might go up with a win too. Speaking of that,
he said it. I know. I think if he wins, he's going to fight for the 155 belt and in the next fight.
And then I think this fight here means a lot to Volk because I think he's hearing that Holloway says that he thought the first two fights were close. The second one for sure. The first one, I think.
First one he won.
Anyway,
second one I honestly think he won.
No, he said Holloway said this week. I feel like
I remember scoring one of them for Holloway.
The second one was very close.
That was Fight Island.
The second one, Holloway, I think definitely won the first two rounds. The third round was very much in question. And then I thought Volkanovski won 4-5. Even those rounds were close too. He outstruck him 3-4-5. I think it was much less of a I don't think it was a robbery. People were.
I remember them being close. Yeah,
robbery talk was running rampant. It was too close. We've talked about it a lot in the show. that I don't think robbery should have been the word. I think it was more just people love Max Holloway and really wanted to see him get that belt back after losing it in a close first fight. And then obviously I think the second fight was even closer. So I think he clipped him and dropped him early in the second fight. And I think people saw that. We're just like, oh, like he's rolling on his way to a win. And then Volkanovski just kind of gritted his way back into it later on. Because I remember being at like a big watch party with a bunch of my friends and like everyone thought Holloway won the fight.
Yeah.
And people were furious when Volkanovski got the decision in the moment. But I think a lot of that was based off fan power.
Yeah.
How do we feel about this little like Barstool Sportsbook special? Volk to win and over 3.5 rounds minus 127.
I actually do like that.
That gives you.
I don't think he's going to beat him in the first 3.
Yeah, gives you late 4, all of 5, and decision for minus 127.
I think I still have PTSD from having Volkanovski rounds 4 and 5 against Ortega. That was like the best bet ever that didn't cash. He literally the ref was saying, "Do you want to continue?" He basically was saying no.
Yeah,
and
he
the
was
ref was
trying
like, "All right,
everything.
let's go." Like keep
Mark
fighting.
Goddard.
Damn.
I think it was Goddard, right?
I want to say
you're
so.
right about that.
But yeah, I really like Volkanovski. I would like him in the parlay if you can grit and bear that. If you can, I guess.
I can. I'm gonna have to tweet like, "Sorry, Max. I was held at gunpoint and forced to do this." I'll have to.
Well, I mean, if you tweet at the right time, I'm sure it'll be. You think he's on his phone at like 6
It's
hours?
got to be the right time. Yeah,
You think he's on his
you're
phone
right
like
about
6
that.
hours before the fight?
Yeah.
And then the main event, we can get right into it, is Real the Last Stylebender, Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier. I think this is another one that doesn't require a huge breakdown because this one I kind of view as Stylebender is going to roll over him.
I think so too. I've said it a few times. It's giving me Paulo Costa vibes. I think just big muscle-bound guy. He's gonna have to take chances to win the fight. If he stays on the outside, he's gonna get Cannonier. I'm saying he's gonna get absolutely picked apart. If he stays on the outside, I think he's gonna have to take chances, and I think that plays right to Adesanya's hand. I think Adesanya's gonna knock him out. I think Adesanya needs a big win. I think he knows that.
I think Adesanya by finish.
I think he needs one for like his stardom a little bit. Like his last 2 fights have been, one could say lulls. He hasn't gotten finishes. He dropped Whitaker in the second fight in the first round and kind of his words exactly coasted. A reporter even asked him like, "What do you critique yourself on?" And he said that he didn't pull the trigger enough. That he was a little.
I saw that.
And kind of
someone tweeted that.
Well, he laid back more than he should have. He wishes he was more aggressive. He said instead of setting things up and like getting them to walk into him, he kind of just didn't do that. And he's like, I could have just set him up instead of just kind of waiting for him to like walk into it on his own. I think he's gonna blast Cannonier. I think Cannonier's gonna take those shots and he's gonna pay for it. That's what I think. I like Adesanya inside the distance. I like him in a parlay, Volkanovski as well. Those are gonna be my plays. 2 of my bigger plays, I think, honestly, too.
All right, so I'm gonna let you guys start talking about the parlay. I just got to make sure the PFL video is uploading because it was supposed to upload at 4:50. So you guys start breaking down the parlay, and I'll be back in 30 seconds.
All right, yeah.
So
let's pull up the Barstool Sportsbook app.
I have it off the top of my head. This is what I was thinking in my head. I will workshop it. I've already said I like Volkanovski. I like Adesanya. I like Sugar. And then the other ones that I liked was Andre Munoz. I like that 4 would be plus 212. Is there anything else? Does anyone disagree with any of those?
No.
Or is there any ones that people would like to add and get nuts?
List them off one more time.
So Andre Munoz, Sugar, Volkanovski, Adesanya.
I actually love that.
That's 4. That'd be plus 212 right now. So maybe plus 250 range.
I think that's good. We need a win. We keep saying it. We need a win.
No, I love that way more than putting Strickland in there.
Yeah, that's too.
Strickland would get it to 500.
Oh, I love that.
Strickland would make my butthole pucker like I was taking a driver's test.
Whole fight.
Yeah.
The whole fight.
I think if you're gonna add one, it'd be Turner fight doesn't.
Or Macy Barber.
Macy Barber wouldn't be a
if we want like early action. Well, Munoz is on the early prelims.
The only thing is, it probably will probably get more.
No, he's like the featured early prelim, I believe.
Okay, I was thinking if we make
Macy Barber would make it plus 321.
If we make this parlay a little bit more, the fighters fight later. It's a pay-per-view. People are going to be home. July 4th weekend. Maybe some more times to get the bet in, but I think we should more focus on winning.
I like those 4. And Munoz is a little bit early. Like I think he's the 3rd or 4th fight of the night.
Yeah.
So
Andre Munoz, Sean O'Malley, Alex Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya. That is plus 212, not boosted. So probably close in the 250 range you would get boosted to. I feel really good about that.
I like it a
I've
lot.
said I felt really good about all of them, but we're not even really going like big nutsack on the table. We're going more almost safe here.
Like, just get a win.
We're picking the favorites that we really think are not going to lose.
Fact.
Yep, agreed.
And we're giving you the boost on them. So hopefully you go on the Barstool Sportsbook this weekend. You get the boost.
That's an unreal description of a parlay. We're picking the big favorites we don't think are going to lose. I hope so. I hope we're picking guys that we don't think are going to lose. But no, I love it. I love it too. Obviously, I would love Strickland in there, but let's get a win.
Let's get a win. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. And
God bless.
now it should be up on our YouTube channel.
Like the stream, boys.
Oh, yeah.
Like
the
the-
stream.
like the stream.
If you're watching the
Comment.
stream,
Drop a
I'd appreciate it if you
comment
drop
when the
a
video is
comment
over.
below.
Your like live chats don't count as comments. So like once it ends, go back in and be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
great episode, guys. We
Yeah,
love
honestly,
you."
just spam the comments.
And
Spam the
we
comments.
gotta-
Oh, you
when
can
the
say
video
bad
out
things.
now.
I don't
Once the
really
video
care.
is posted, spam the comments.
Video out now, too. With
We appreciate you
PFL,
guys.
Anthony Pettis, Holyfield. It's a great video. Go
Yep.
check it out on the channel. Should be up now.